Słuchacie RES.
Hello, God bless you. My name is Simon Pudełko and I'm here in the studio of Radio Sim with Professor Jason Eberl. Hello.
Hello.
Professor gave a lecture during 18th International Congress titled Catholics and Transhumanism in Academy of Social and Media Culture. His lecture titled Thomism and Transhumanism, talking about whether biotechnology can contribute to the development of humanity. Mr. Professor, first I would like you to give us an idea. Could you explain the general concepts with transhumanism?
Yeah. So in general, transhumanists seek to improve human capacities, not only to sort of maximize our potential, but perhaps even to supersede what we would consider to be human nature, to create, again, what's called a transhuman or a post-human. They see no reason why with present and future biotechnologies, whether it's gene editing, cybernetic devices, AI, and so on, that we can take control of our own evolution and just continue to improve and improve and improve ourselves.
Okay, could you give us an example? Maybe you could talk about Neuralink, for example?
Yeah, so Neuralink is a technology being developed. It's a company owned by Elon Musk. And the goal, and this is true for a lot of these biotechnologies, the initial goal is actually to help persons with various sorts of disabilities to be able to control prosthetics or to interact with, say, their cell phones, just by using their brains directly.
Yes, so the general idea is like to help people.
Exactly.
Okay.
But then you can take that same technology and adapt it to someone who doesn't have a disability. And again, same thing, allow them to, say, connect directly to their smartphone or some AI device and basically kind of extend their mind outside of their heads.
Wow, that's not natural. But do we really think when we delegate the task to AI, while being able to perform those thoughts by ourselves? Like, do we really need to extend this brain to the AI?
Yeah, I would argue that there can be some beneficial uses of integrating. We already are integrating AI into our lives. Every time we use our smartphones, right? Those are fully integrated now with AI systems, just doing a simple Google search, right? And one of the arguments is that this is no different than, say, when calculators were invented. Well, we still teach math, and it's still important for people to learn how to do mathematical calculation. But in a day-to-day, when you're preparing to file your taxes or something, it's best to have the calculator help do it for you.
Yes, just to make sure that everything is calculated right.
And that's the key. I think that humans can be cognitively fallible, but so can AIs. And so there has to be a mutual check either way. So I think AIs can help, but they shouldn't fully take over our own thinking. We should always be a double check on the AIs.
Okay, and in your lecture, you also talked about Thomism, about the philosophy and anthropology of St. Thomas. What does Thomistic philosophy has to do with the perception of transhumanism?
Yeah. Initially, one might not think it has much to say at all because St. Thomas lived 800 years ago.
Yes, but right now, as you know the philosophy of St. Thomas, what he could say right now about transhumanism.
Yeah. Well, I think what Thomas could say right now, if he were alive today, of course he is alive in heaven, but
yes,
if he were literally sitting here in the studio with us, I think he would remind us, first of all, that our nature as human beings is to be an embodied animal. Yes, we have minds, we have souls, but our mind, our soul is fully integrated with this body. We're not ghosts in a machine, right? And so our embodiment is constitutive of our nature and of our flourishing, of our happiness. And this is why, for example, St. Thomas, not only as a person of faith, but philosophically believed in bodily resurrection, that if there is to be a life after death, it's not just a life of a disembodied soul or disembodied consciousness, but the life of an embodied, glorified, but still embodied living human being.
Yes, and the idea of transhumanism, does it deny the body?
To some extent, yes. And so not all transhumanists agree on every sort of goal or aim. There are some transhumanists who do simply want to improve our embodied condition, to maximize our bodies and our brains' own potential. But then there are some transhumanists, for example, Ray Kurzweil is a famous one, who argues that, first of all, he believes that we will achieve what's called artificial generalized intelligence, AI systems that think and are conscious in the exact same ways that we are. I have doubts that that's possible. But,
Yeah, me too.
yeah. But let's say he's right and we achieve that. Then Kurzweil's argument is that then we can upload a human mind into an AI system. And that would make it more freer, more ability to think and will freely than when trapped in this body.
But how? So we would like be conscious, we would have the soul, but without the body, we would be a machine. How should it work?
I don't know. I mean,
okay, maybe I should ask Kurzweil one day.
Right, exactly.
Okay, Mr. Professor, but you talked about the Thomism, and that really interests me. So I would like to ask you how Thomistic philosophy, anthropology, influence concepts like human life, community, science, and rationality for Catholics.
Yeah. So the Catholic Church, ever since the Council of Vienne in the 14th century, has affirmed that, not necessarily Aquinas, because there are other thinkers who share the same view, but this view that we call, the technical term is hylomorphism. But it's this idea that we are not souls entrapped in bodies. That's a sort of Gnostic view. Nor are we just our bodies, right? We have aspects of our nature that transcend our body. And that ground our freedom. So when we think about human life, yes, our health is important, right? We have a moral obligation to take care of our bodies. Again, we believe in the resurrection of the body.
Yeah.
With respect to our interrelatedness, our embodied condition entails our vulnerability, our frailty, our mortality, and all that informs how we relate to each other ethically, morally. And that's a real concern that, with transhumanists really trying to get away from all that, they might undermine the very features that make our interpersonal moral lives possible. And then finally, this would affect our social, political, economic relationships, right? The very foundations of how we've constructed human society could radically shift. Okay. And transhumanists think these would be good shifts, but they could also exacerbate social inequities.
Okay, I understand. So coming to the conclusion, is rationality and responsibility an answer for concerns of transhumanism according to the philosophy of St. Thomas?
Yes. So St. Thomas, and beyond him, the Catholic Church has taught that we should engage in the responsible use of technology. Pope Francis, in his encyclical Laudato Si, talks about harnessing technology to serve integral human ends, as opposed to allowing ourselves to become enframed in technology's own sort of totalizing logic. So, again, we can allow technology to use us, or we can always keep technology in that place of a tool that facilitates our flourishing as living, sentient, social, and rational animals.
Okay, I understand it. So we should get in touch with St. Thomas' philosophy as Catholics if we want to make transhumanism a bit better.
Well, I think so. And again, just to be clear, I don't think we can combine Thomas's thought and transhumanism, because transhumanists go for the extremes.
Yes.
But there are potential ways in which biotechnologies, whether certainly for therapeutic purposes, which the Church has consistently affirmed, but then perhaps even for some moderate forms of enhancement. Thomas's system, his anthropology, his ethic, can provide us the guardrails to distinguish what we can do and ought not to do.
Yes, so it would help us to not go into the extremism.
Exactly.
Okay. Mr. Professor, it was an honor to talk to you about these topics. Thank you for being with us here in our studio. And I wish you very best, and hopefully we will talk again someday.
Thank you very much, Simon. I appreciate it.
Thank you. My guest was Professor Jason Eberl. Thank you for listening, and we will hear each other again. Thank you.
To jest radiowy ekspres studencki.